Hello, I'm David Hughes. Welcome to Your Perfect Body, the podcast of the Esoteric Teaching community. Today's selection is an essay entitled Kṛṣṇa is the Controller, Part 2. The method of devotional service given in the esoteric teaching is to engage the senses of our present body in spiritual service to Kṛṣṇa, the master of the senses, recognizing that he is the proprietor and controller of everything. This gives us real happiness because it frees us from the karmic reaction to our acts. But in the beginning of Bhagavad-gītā, Arjuna does not appear to recognize this. Therefore he says, evam uktva hrsikesam gudakesah parantapah na yotsya iti govindam uktva tusnim babhuvaha. Sanjaya said, having spoken thus, Arjuna, chastiser of the enemies, told Kṛṣṇa, Govinda, I shall not fight, and fell silent. Bhagavad-gītā 2:9. Therefore, Kṛṣṇa is addressed as Hrsikesha, hinting that the solution to Arjuna's difficulty will be found when he engages all his senses in serving the order of Kṛṣṇa, Hrsikesha. Sarvopadhi vinirmuktam tatparatvena nirmalam hrsikena hrsikesha sevanam bhaktir uchite. Bhakti, or devotional service, means engaging all our senses in the service of the Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Master of all the senses. When the spirit soul renders service unto the Supreme, there are two side effects. One is freed from all material designations, and one's senses are purified simply by being employed in the service of the Lord. Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila 19:170. Hence, bhakti means to serve Hrishikesh by the Hrishika, the senses. Kṛṣṇa is the master of the senses. Therefore, whatever senses I have in my present embodiment, their master and proprietor is Kṛṣṇa. When our senses are engaged in the satisfaction of the master of the senses, that is called bhakti. This is the definition of bhakti, devotional service. When the senses are engaged for sense gratification, not for the master, that is called kama, or lust. Prema means to love Kṛṣṇa and do everything for the satisfaction of Kṛṣṇa. That is prema, or pure spiritual love. And kama means the same things done for the satisfaction of my senses. That is the difference between lust and love, illusion and enlightenment. The senses are the medium in either case. Whatever you do, either you do it to satisfy your senses or to satisfy Kṛṣṇa's senses. But when you satisfy your senses, you become imperfect, illusioned, and when you satisfy Kṛṣṇa's senses, you become perfect. Because actually you cannot satisfy your senses without Kṛṣṇa. Hrsikena hrsikesha sevanam bhaktir uchite. Therefore, to attain enlightenment, spiritual perfection, one has to purify the senses by engaging them in Kṛṣṇa's service. In material consciousness, everyone is trying to satisfy his own senses. Pungsastriya mituni bhavam etam tayor mito hridaya grantim ahuhu ahto griha kshetra sutapta vittayar janasya mohoya mahammameti. The attraction between male and female is the basic principle of material existence. On the basis of this misconception, which ties together the hearts of the male and female, one becomes attracted to his body, home, property, children, relatives, and wealth. In this way, one increases life's illusions and thinks in terms of I and mine. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam 5.5.8. Pungsastriya maituni bhavametat. The whole material world is working on the energy of sexual attraction. In every species there are two sexes, male and female. The male is trying to satisfy his senses, and the female is trying to satisfy her senses. So in the material world, so-called love simply means sense gratification. There is no real love. It cannot be love because neither the man nor the woman is trying to satisfy the other party's senses. Everyone is trying to satisfy his or her own senses. The woman is loving a man for satisfying her senses, and the man is loving the woman for satisfying his senses. It is economics, a business deal. Therefore, as soon as there is any little disturbance in the process of sense gratification, there is divorce, because the central point is personal sense gratification. But we can make such a pretentious illusion of love. Oh, I love you so much. I love you so much. But there is no love in material existence. It is all kama, lust, sense gratification. In the material world, there is no possibility of real love. It's not possible. The so-called love in the material world is only cheating. Oh, I love you because you are so beautiful. You will satisfy my senses. Because you are young and beautiful. Yes, very satisfying to my senses. This is the world. Material world means pungsa striya maituni bhava meta. The whole basic principle of this material world is sense gratification. Yan maitunadi grihamedi sukham hitucham kanju yanena karayori vadukha dukkam tripyanti neha kripana bahudukha bhaja kantu tivan manajisam vishaheta dhiraha. Sex life is compared to rubbing of two hands to relieve an itch. Grihamedis, so-called grihastas who have no spiritual knowledge, think that this itching is the greatest platform of happiness, although actually it is a source of distress. The kripanas, the fools who are just the opposite of brahmanas, are not satisfied by repeated sensuous enjoyment. Those who are dhira, sober, however, who tolerate this itching, are not subjected to the sufferings of the fools and rascals. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam 7:9-45. In this material world, so-called romance, society, friendship, and love, everything is dependent on sense gratification, maitunadi, beginning from sex life. Yan maitunadi grihamedi sukham hitucham. So when one becomes free from this maitunadi sukham, attraction to sex life, he is a liberated soul, swami or goswami. Swami means one who is a master of his senses. As Krishna is the master of the senses, so when one becomes Krishna conscious, he becomes master of his senses. It is not that the senses should be stopped from acting. Let them act, but their action should be controlled. When I require, I shall use them, otherwise not. That is the master of the senses. I shall not act impelled by the senses. The senses should act under my direction. That is Swami. Therefore Arjuna is called gudakesah. He is a master of the senses. He is not refusing to fight because he is a coward, but he is compassionate because of being a devotee of Krishna. Anyone who becomes a devotee of Krishna automatically has all good qualities manifest in his body. Yasyasti bhaktir bhagavatya kinchana sarvair gunaistatra samaste suraha harav abhaktasya kuto mahadguna manoratenasti dhavattu bahihi. One who has unflinching devotion for the personality of Godhead has all the good qualities of the demigods. But one who is not a devotee of the Lord has only material qualifications that are of little value. This is because he is hovering on the mental plane and is certain to be attracted by the glaring material energy. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam 5:18-12. A pure devotee of the Lord has all godly qualities. So Arjuna is also on that platform. Otherwise, how can he become an intimate friend of Krishna unless he is on the same spiritual platform? Friendship becomes very strong when both the friends are on an equal level. Same age, same education, same prestige, same beauty. The more similarity of position, then the friendship becomes stronger. So Arjuna is also on the same spiritual platform as Kṛṣṇa. Just like if someone becomes friend of the president, friend of the king or queen, he cannot